bear in mind about these all these obstacles towards achieving some fruitful kind of trade between people. Yes, my first understanding about this issue is to first pull you guys down to the basics. The development of a country is determined by only two things: the production levels and the consumption levels. I remember when I was reading some reports by the World Bank, I realized that poverty is measured by how or by the consumption levels. That's why they can be like. That's why they say that if at all you're not in position to consume, like let me say, use only, or let me say, like $1 in a day, that means you are poor, something like that. So the level of poverty is determined by how much you consume in an economy that seems to be producing. So these two things here do explain how an economy has to evolve, how it has to develop, how it has to improve. But there is something intermediary that is I consider mobility. Man will always want to move a distance away from where he was or where he is, so that he can get maybe better services, better goods, or better, anything that you would consider. So the mobility is what now brings us to the idea of how do we transcend beyond borders to at least provide services or get better services elsewhere or better goods. But our argument then sometimes becomes a little bit misleading in somehow. I don't know whether it's just because of rhetorics or whatever. Moses makes a very clear point here that there's need to encourage foreign direct investment. At the same time, he's blaming government for supporting big industries or big businesses, or like let me say that I could call them the large scale or like the large enterprises. And yet these large enterprises are more so predominant with this foreign direct investment. So, and in his own argument, he says that the small, medium enterprises are left out. And that's the problem right now. So when there's foreign direct investment in a country, there's a problem that will always arise. The favoritism that is always placed on the foreign direct investors than the local investors. But then the question comes in that how do you leverage the ground for the local investors to always also perform better in such an economy? To talk about production, as I would not, deviate from my point, I would say that there are like around 4 to 5 levels of production. The first level is what we consider the primary level, where we consider mining, we consider agriculture, we consider all those things that you consider in the primary level. It's like getting the resources from wherever they are and trying to bring them out. The second one is the secondary level. The secondary level, I consider it the transformative level, where we consider that okay, we've gotten these things from the agriculture sector. Do we transform? Can we improve on the product, on the quality towards the market that will always be demanding for such things? That's the secondary level. And the third one is the tertiary level. This is where we consider the services, the buying and selling of goods, the buying and selling of manufactured goods, or even the buying and selling of the locally made goods or like things from the market. That's the tertiary level. And the last one that I would consider in this level is called the quaternary level, where we consider the academic exchanges, the research. How much do we invest in research? There was some writing that I mean there was some statement that was made by some scholars that Africa contributes 0.1% to research in this world. So you can imagine a country that's not investing, or the continent that's not investing in research, trying to claim that it will now be producing for the other parts of the world. It becomes even problematic. That's why sometimes even when we take our coffee out there or our products from Africa, they are considered of lower standards. Why? It's because we are not investing in research. In how do we transform our goods to have the market value that the world market wants? Going back to the secondary level, I see there's a deviation. Should I call it a deviation, or let me say like there's a conflict between the primary level and the tertiary. There is high production from the primary levels, and there's the tertiary level being dominated. We buy things from outside and we sell them around. Yes, and we buy things expensively. Dangote once said that a country that imports things from other countries creates market for other products, and it increases on the employment levels elsewhere, while it worsens the unemployment levels in its own countries or its
As you,
own
as you
country.
wrap up,
Yes, yes.
Elem.
Rogers,
And here brings that challenge of what we are trying to push for in favor of what we don't understand. With the
Rod,
secondary level, there's what we consider the cosmetic value. I'm just summarizing the cosmetic value of a product and the substantive value of a product. The transformation or the kind of manufacturing, the kind of improvement of our products that we do make in Africa is of lower standards. You get coffee, you just go and grind it and you think you're going to sell it. Yeah, that is cosmetic value. Anybody can do that. These days, people buy machines and they make their ice cream from home, they make their juice from home. But when we talk about the substantive value, how can you get a seed or whatever it is and you come up with something so valuable out of it that might be like in terms of a herb or maybe a medicine or something else that is much more important to the community and that would be of much value that might be more demanded in the market is the question, because all we are talking about is how do we ensure that we have the transformation and how do we transcend beyond borders, but we're not talking about how do we improve our internal transformative capacities so that we can always capture the world market's demands of our products. Does it make sense? So,
Yes,
in my
Elem.
own argument is that we have left the level at which we are supposed to be makers, I mean, producers of machines that will make more machines that will be used to make some products or maybe improve or transform some other products that might be demanded in the world market. We are instead importers of very sophisticated machineries from elsewhere to come and use in our countries to produce what we consider of low value. That's why we are having a balance of payment deficit and other fiscal deficits in the country. We have to always invest much on this level of production. How do we become industrialized so that we can